in 1995. You've been in the UWFI. You've been several different places, done the independents and everything. But your first sort of like real claim to fame in wrestling is you become NWA champion in 1995. How did the negotiations go, and what were you sort of promised as far as how long you'd have the belt, and what were you trying to accomplish with giving you the belt and booking you and such?
You mean originally when the NWA approached me about putting the strap on me?
Yes.
Well, when that first happened, the NWA at that point in time was almost non-existent. I believe there were only 3 promoters that were left in existence for the NWA. It was a gentleman from out east, I think Dennis Carluzzo, came up with the crazy idea of putting the strap on me. And, well, I'm sorry, no, okay.
It might have been Howard Brody.
Okay, no. It was Dennis Carluzzo come up with this idea, but okay, Howard Brody was in the mix. But the fact is, they had to approach Jim Cornette because the belt holder at that time was Chris Candido. And Jim Cornette had his own promotion known as Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And yeah, think about that, to be approached. I mean, Jim had never met me at that point in time. I don't even know if Jim even knew who I was at that point in time, because I was still so, I'll say, fresh, green in my professional wrestling career. I was going over to Japan practically every other month for doing a UWFI match there, but that's a very strong style of professional wrestling that was not taking place inside the United States at all. Or it could be thrown, well, I should say, or it should be thrown back as a days gone by. There was that same style early on in professional wrestling. Again, when you start looking at probably 1960s and later back, it was a much more strong style shown. Professional wrestling at that point in time, literally the announcer would be in the ring and he'd be saying, "Any man, woman, or child that can last 5 minutes with the champ gets $10,000. That was actually something legit that promoter was promoting, knowing that whatever local would climb to the ropes, the champ was going to put down hard and fast. So now when Billy Bob goes back up into the crowd, bloody, battered, bruised, the people think, well, it's got to be real. Look what happened to one of our own. I mean, that was what the premise was done with professionals way back then. And then they would go on with their agenda of the orchestrated matches and predetermined outcomes. I mean, but I always tell people, don't say that it's fake. There might be a predetermined outcome, but to be picked up physically and be body slammed, hit with clotheslines and chops, stuff like this. Professional wrestlers are some of the most incredible athletes, doing some of the most incredible athletic maneuvers without the aid of a safety net. Now, again, I digressed over all these other different avenues. Getting back to your original question, Jim Cornette was, just to allow someone that he had never met to come to his organization to take the strap off of his current champion. What a guy he was. What a guy. I mean, I can't say enough praise for him. I mean, literally, if you've ever had the chance to speak to Jim Cornette, as he starts talking, he gets more and more excited about the conversation of professional wrestling. And you literally, you can almost see the child that fell in love with professional wrestling decades ago. You could see it emerging because he still has that same type of excitement. He wants to try to make sense out of professional wrestling, and Jim Cornette has helped me out a couple different times in my career. And when I was working for the WWF at the time, he was always so frustrated with the creative team because he just said, "Steven, say, Dad," he goes, "You're the best thing to ever hit professional wrestling. You're a professional wrestler who actually can wrestle. You don't need the cut promos. You're not going to go out there flex, flex, flex. You're not going to cut crazy. They said you're just going to go out there. You're going to dismantle people. So literally, I was kind of like a Bill Goldberg 20 years before Bill Goldberg ever came on the scene. Is really what I was. It just just for wrestling. Jim Cornette could be my mouthpiece. I didn't have to talk. I mean, I had the best talker in the world. So,
did you ever experience his temper at any point? Not towards you, but I've asked this quite a few times, and he just goes just over the smallest thing, and then calms down again.
No. I mean, I've seen that temper as it has been shown towards individuals he didn't care for. Like, for example, he didn't like Vince Russo at all. So if you bring up a name like that, I mean, he would just. I mean, that would bring him up. Where I mean, it's I've never really seen the wrath, but I just know that when he brings things that up, he's very, I don't know, just so involved with that industry. He's one of these people that wants to try to protect this industry and help it along in the right way. I mean, when people look at it for being exposed, I mean, the real people that really exposed it was Vince McMahon himself. Exposed the industry, because up to that point in time, every state that he was running his shows in, he had to be regulated by the Boxing Athletic Commission, and he was trying to simply. He basically told him, he goes, "These are all predetermined outcomes. These are just phenomenal athletes that are able to orchestrate this play, action." And he goes, "I can show you a list of all the matches tonight and how they're going to finish, and that's how it's going to go." So literally, he's the person who actually exposed it originally, just so they didn't have to pay he probably saved his company millions of dollars on an annual basis because of all the athletic commission what it costs them.
Fees.
What it costs them to get all their fees, the nature. So
I mean, Vince McMahon wasn't even the first to do that. In the 30s, a guy called Jack Pfeffer gave interviews to like the New York Post or something like that, and it was meant to be a huge expose on the business, and it didn't affect ticket sales at all, because I think for the most part people knew and they didn't care.
Yeah, again, it's like going to the movies. You want to be entertained. I mean, it's going to movies, going to play, going to watch professional wrestling. It's all the same thing.
Exactly.